Joining us on the Guadalupe Radio Network to talk all about the importance of prayer in her life is Kamryn Spell. Kamryn will soon graduate from the University of St. Thomas with a Bachelor of Arts in Dance. She served as the captain of the university's cheer and dance team and was crowned Miss UST. Kamryn, thanks for coming in to share a little bit about yourself, your life, and prayer life.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, great to have you here. I want to acknowledge, first off, at the top, the mascot at the University of St. Thomas is Lenny the Lion, and we just have a new pope in Pope Leo, and so we've been thinking a lot here at the radio station about lions. So shout out to Lenny the Lion.
Yes.
Kamryn, I want to talk all about your prayer life and how it's helped you to overcome some of the biggest challenges. But first, tell me just overall, Kamryn, about your love for dance. Have you always had a love for dance ever since you were a little girl?
Yes. So whenever I was 3 years old, I was put into dance initially just because I was the first girl of my family. I had two older brothers. My mom thought it was so cute to put me in a tutu and a little bow in my hair and to take me to ballet class. So
Be really girly.
Oh, exactly. So she loved that. And initially that was the reason I was put into dance. From then I grew to love it so much and still love it to this day.
Very good. And so, like I said, you were thinking about that. You even trained at the professional level. You didn't have a traditional high school experience. What did you end up doing for high school?
Yeah, so usually if you're trying to take the professional route with ballet, it's considered smart to train all day. So from 9 to 5, I would train, and then in the evening, I would do school online. So when I was in the 7th grade, I quit going to public school, and I started to do school online, and I would train at the Houston Ballet Academy Monday through Friday all day.
Okay, so have you gone to the traditional route? You're originally from Nederland, Texas, near the Beaumont area.
Yes.
So the traditional route would have been going to high school there. We did end up doing that because you were doing this professional ballerina training.
Exactly.
So you always thought that you were going to go in that direction, basically. And doing that, you said, since 2017 or so?
I can't remember when I decided to move to Houston. I know I was around 12 or 13 years old, so around a teenager. I moved to Houston, and I would still travel back to Nederland to see my family on the weekends. But for the most part, I was here during the week to train and to chase that dream of mine.
Was that scary at all, though, being 12, 13 years old, going to a big city like Houston and having to do that on a regular basis?
Honestly, I don't remember being scared at all. I think there's something beautiful about being young and not knowing just bad things that could happen, just being kind of naive, you know?
Yeah.
And all I really knew is that I wanted to dance, and if this is what it was going to take for me to dance, then I was willing to do it. So I don't think I was too scared, just more grateful for the opportunity and excited to chase my dreams.
Very good. So you were chasing your dreams, and then something happened. 2021, January. Kamryn, what happened?
Yeah, so at that time, I had just finished my training. I was at the very end of it, and I had gotten my first dance contract at a professional ballet company to dance professionally. So I moved away from Houston, and I moved to Fort Worth, and
Which is a big opportunity in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, every single day of training had led to this one moment in my life, which was dancing and getting paid to dance professionally. So I was super grateful. I was nervous because I was moving away from my family, but I knew that this is what I had been training my whole life to do, so I was willing to take the risk. And I moved to Fort Worth, and I was dancing there, absolutely loving it, and knowing that this was kind of the start of my journey as a professional ballerina. And around COVID time, towards the end of COVID, I was in a ballet class, and I was going through my regular routine like I always do, and I felt my knee kind of give in. It twisted in a weird way, and I heard a pop, and I had never injured myself badly before, so in that moment I was like, you know, it's probably fine. I probably just tweaked it a little bit. I went and got an MRI just to make sure everything was okay, and I ended up tearing my ACL.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How painful was that?
Honestly, people ask me all the time, you know, how much pain were you in? I didn't feel any pain at all for any of the tears. Sorry to spoil, but I do go on to tear it more than just once after that during later years of my life. But I wasn't in any pain, which was kind of confusing for me. I just knew that
because you didn't think anything was that bad,
right? I didn't think it was that bad at all. I like I said, I never injured myself, and I didn't think I was one to get injured. I felt invincible. So, yeah, I was a little bit I was kind of questioning, what could it be? I didn't think it was anything serious, but I did go to the doctor, got an MRI, and he told me that I would need surgery. And that to me was so scary. I'd never had surgery before. He told me that I would be out of dance for about a year, and that also really scared me so much. I had never taken that much time off of dance.
And so as a result, you couldn't do this professional opportunity in Fort Worth because you had to take that year to get this surgery. You had to have it done. And so then if I'm thinking correctly, then you end up moving back to Houston.
Yes.
I can only imagine how devastating that was for you, not being able to really take advantage of this opportunity at the professional dance level in Fort Worth. What did this do to you for your prayer life? And then you came back to Houston. Were you frustrated at all? How were you feeling during this time?
Yes, I was definitely, just heartbroken because I felt like I had given this opportunity and it was just taken from me. What I had been working for endlessly, day in and day out, just completely gone. I know that in that time I needed to lean on God and really just trust what He was trying to do in my life. I did have a strong relationship with Him, but I wanted it to be more personal, and I took this time to really start praying a lot more and getting in the Word and just seeing where He was taking me in my life at that time. And I was talking with a friend, and she had done this thing in January, kind of as like a New Year's resolution. She had prayed to God and asked Him to give her a word to help guide her and just help her through her year. And I thought that was a great idea, so I had done the same thing. And I didn't know how He was going to give me the word or where it was going to show up, how it was going to come to me, but I trusted that He was going to give it to me. And so through a lot of prayer and just talking with Him, I soon realized that the word He was giving me was bold. And I didn't know what it meant or where it was going to take me, how He was going to use that in my life, but I just trusted that, this was an important word for me. So like you had said earlier, after that ACL tear, I moved back to Houston to be with my family and just kind of pick up the pieces and see what I could do with my life after that. And I would travel from Nederland to Houston to do my physical therapy. And on those drives, I would kind of pray and just, think about my life. And I would pass this billboard every time that I drove to Houston, and it said, "Be your bold self" on it. And I would just kind of reflect and pray and thank God and know that He was still with me in that moment, although I still didn't know what I was going to be doing for that year, how I was going to get my career back on track. And it took me about 10 times passing that billboard to actually see what it was advertising. Mm-hmm. And one day I finally saw it was "Be Your Bold Self, University of St. Thomas." And it kind of got me thinking and questioning, and I was praying about it, and I just felt as though God was calling me to attend the University of St. Thomas. Mm-hmm. So I emailed the dance professor, and within 30 minutes, she had gotten back to me and said, "Please come toward the campus. We want you here. We want you to come and see what UST is all about." And so in that moment, everything clicked, and I knew that I felt betrayed by God, but He was really just leading me to UST all along through the word bold, and I could really trust Him with my future.
Yeah, maybe God had this intention. He wanted you to get a college degree.
Yes.
And at the track that you were on, you
it
weren't
wasn't
going to
happen.
But
yeah.
that's what He wanted for you. That's amazing. One of the things, Kamryn, I like about your story is the fact that, a lot of people in life, like you, go through a really tough experience in life, serious challenges, and they get frustrated too. And not all of them return to prayer, unfortunately. But you kept going, even though, like I said, there's that sense of frustration. You don't know why this is happening, but you kept praying. And so I hope that whoever's listening to this will keep that in mind, that even if they're going through tough times, they may even be frustrated with God, sort of questioning, "God, why are you doing this?" But you kept praying. Mm-hmm. And keeping doing that, I think God answered your prayers in His time. I want to ask you about that prayer. You had mentioned it was sort of like a conversation with God. I know there's different ways to pray. Some people like singing. Mm-hmm. Some people like praying structured prayers like the Our Father, the Hail Mary. You have any favorite forms of prayer or the way that you like to pray?
So I usually started out with an Our Father and a Hail Mary, and then from there I'll just kind of go and lay down anything that's been on my heart, anything that I'm struggling with. And I obviously love to sit in silence, and you might not always hear his voice, but just knowing and feeling his presence is what matters the most. I also really love to play worship music, just really lightly in the background, low volume during my prayers. Sometimes just helps me to get in the right mindset and really know that I can trust him and put everything in his hands.
Yeah. We're obviously here on the Guadalupe Radio Network, so I do want to acknowledge our Heavenly Mother, Mary, and helping us through her intercession to come closer to Christ. So I just want to ask you, Kamryn, about, your thoughts on Our Lady, on our Heavenly Mother.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I just think it's so great that we have Mary to come to whenever we're going through difficult times. And I personally love to pray the Hail Mary before bed, just knowing that she's listening and she's there for us whenever we need her. I think that's something so special. And I hope, one day to pass that down to my family and my children as well, just like my dad taught me how to pray it. So
very good. Well, like I say, amid all the challenges, you'd mentioned that you'd torn your ACL multiple times, even since that one in 2021. You still have participated in dance in all these different levels. I'd mentioned at the University of St. Thomas. You're also a professional dancer for a local sports team here in Houston, an NBA team. And so you're still very much involved with all of that stuff. When you graduate, which will be happening soon, by the way, is the plan to stay in the field of dance?
Oh, definitely, yes. I would love to dance as long as I can. I think that I did not go through all of these surgeries and these terrible knee injuries for no reason. I think all of it was for a reason, to prove that I could get back out there and to dance. And I think dance gives me a wonderful opportunity to tell my story and share my faith. So for as long as I can, I'll be dancing.
And you also teach some dancing, I think?
Yes, I do. I teach ballet to young students, and I will continue to do that as well and share my love and just anything that I can pass down to the next generation.
Is it rewarding to be able to teach that to other little girls?
I think it's so rewarding. It really takes me back to when I was younger and just being so in love and inspired with the art form. And I truly love to see, little kids' face light up when they figure out a step or whenever they're able to conquer something that was challenging for them. It takes me back to the days that I was doing that too.
Very good. Well, good reminder for us to pray for all those little girls, that God will lead them in their lives just like he's led your life. And of course, we'll be praying for all of the students who are graduating here in May from the University of St. Thomas. And of course, like you said, you're going to be staying in Houston,
yes,
and doing all of that stuff. So we wish you the very best. Final thoughts, Kamryn, about you mentioned the word bold. Mm-hmm. Be your bold self, of course, is that slogan at the University of St. Thomas. Advice for others to stay bold as well.
Yeah, I think there will be times in your life where you'll be questioning, is this my purpose? Is this what I was put here to do? Mm-hmm. Am I doing the will of God? And I think as long as you stay close to him and truly trust where he's put you and remain bold and stay bold in prayer, I think that's another thing I learned too, is that no prayer is too big for God, and he loves bold prayers. And so I think just asking for what you need and helping others and remaining bold in your life is truly just so important, and that's what I want everyone to know.
Amen. Very good. Well, we really appreciate your coming on here. Kamryn Spell, she is a student at the University of St. Thomas, soon to be graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Dance. Thank you so much for coming on here and telling a little bit about your story.
Thank you so much.